Bah! Back with another one, Audio Addiction. We got Kehlani. It was all good till it wasn't. It's a new tape from last week, so we're gonna go ahead and peep this. You know what my running theory has been ever since P&D came out with his album. It seemed like he kind of caught up still on Kehlani, talking that shit. Of course, Savage Anthem. Everybody heard it as a few weeks back, maybe a month back. But Kehlani, she's stressing over YG, fam. She got a lineup about her. She got Kyrie, P&D, and now she's talking about YG. It's crazy they all rhyme, right? Anyway, you take a look at the artwork, and it seems to be Kehlani standing on a piece of furniture, and she's kind of peering over a stone wall. Obviously, this is kind of presuming that she's looking into the neighbor's lawn. The opposite side of the wall looks ripe, nature, tall palm trees, blue skies, green grass. It's almost a depiction of the never-ending duality of good and bad. So it's a tale of perspectives. You know, the sun is shining, the sky is blue, but clearly something has got her attention. And this is coming from her as well. She got interviewed about it, about the album cover itself. And she was saying, paired with the back cover, we come into the question, is the grass really greener on the other side? Good things are good until they're not. So as she looked over, she sees the better things, possibly representing what she wants to get to. Also, she's looking thick. But we move on. We're going to go ahead and get into the track list here, make this a short one. We're not going to do every song this time. We're just going to break it down into what I think could be radio singles and hits that I fuck with personally. So we already went through the list. We got Toxic, Can I, Bad News, going to omit Real Hot Girl skit, Water. Then we got Change of Life, going to omit the second skit, Belong to the Streets. We got Everybody's Business, Hate the Club, Serial Lover, F&MU, and Can You Blame Me? I'm not going to review Grieving, Open It, Passionate, or Lexi's outro. So we're going to get to it. Track number 1, Toxic. Okay, so right off rip, you could tell this whole album is about to be about the relationship between Kehlani and YG as well. She released this song, Toxic, after another split with YG. The song seemed to be dissing her relationship with YG, wanting him back, but saying that love is toxic. So Kehlani and YG's relationship was fraught with toxicity, mostly due to YG's unfaithfulness, which he had some issues with in the past. In October 2019, he was spotted making out with some chick out in public. Like, how do you do that and you're famous? Stupid. But initially, he denied the tabloid allegations, saying he would never do that to her, but and he got caught. So she made a track called You Know What's Up later that year, which acted as her response to the allegations, saying she was hurt but still hopes to get married to YG. Ultimately, she doubled down and further committed to the toxicity of the relationship. Shout out to Hillary Clinton. So, on that song, she goes on to say, and I watch your demons cause me trauma. Now I'm triggered, all this drama, you embarrassed, and I'm in shock, and we still in love, and that shit don't stop. So, after another incident, following their collaboration on Conclusions, that's February 14th, Valentine's Day, she released a track on SoundCloud, which publicly ended their relationship, citing his unfaithfulness and exploitation of her fame as well. So she has a few bars on here right off the bat.
Damn right we take turns being grown. I get real accountable when I'm alone. I get real about it all when I'm alone. It's so crazy missing you when I get on.
She says, damn right, we take turns being grown. Obviously, this is a toxic environment, and she can't get enough of this dude, but she can't leave him. She even admits,
all of this love is toxic. All of this love is toxic. All these kisses and housing, not shit. You a damn drug, you toxic.
By saying all his love is toxic, it goes by the hook. You a damn drug, you're toxic. She's pretty much telling him everything that we all know about their relationship. So it's a great intro to the album. So I fuck with it on that note. We're going to move on to Can I with Tory Lanez. Now, obviously, this is a nastier track for them folk who like to talk that dirty shit in the bedroom. So it's a little something for that sex playlist. She goes on, there's some bars on here. The shit's so good, should be illegal. Need round 2, I need a sequel. Hit the backboard like a free throw. You next level, you a cheat code.
This shit so good, should be illegal. Need round 2, I need a sequel. Hit the backboard like a free throw. You next level, you a cheat code. And so deep, you hit my seat plug. Got me singing like Alicia. Got me using all your lingo.
If I was YG and I was hearing all this music being made about me, about my dick game, boy, you already know that ego's on 100. If it's not already, because I know mine is. So let a bitch make some music. Let a bitch make a whole album about my dick. That would probably feel some type of way. I got probably a little bit of an ego about that shit. But she goes on to continue to say, we both on fire, love it like teamwork. Leave the juices on your t-shirt.
Both on fire, love the teamwork. Leave with juices on your t-shirt. Loud and clear, no need for reverb. Tell the Uber driver reverb. Flip that bitch and make the U-turn. Sex say crazy, need the bloopers. Last time I made you a trooper. Sniper gang, you Bradley Cooper.
Etc., etc. She refers to a 2014 movie, American Sniper, that's starring Bradley Cooper, who plays a Navy SEAL. And obviously that last line, last so long, babe, you a trooper, sniper gang, no Bradley Cooper. She's saying that her lover lasts long in bed because Bradley Cooper, like physique and stamina. I think that's self-explanatory. I apologize for insulting your intelligence and explaining that. There's another line here. I really like the hook. It's almost a homage to Aaliyah's chorus of Come Over that came out in 2002. She does it a few times on this album, pays homage to some legendary 90s R&B throwbacks. So I fuck with that heavy. I like when they keep doing that, especially with Tory on the track too, because you know how he'd be remixing shit. So I was pretty fired up to see him on the track. He even has a bar on here that pays homage to Drake, which obviously fellow Canadian rapper. We all know who Drake is, but he switched up the lyrics from Drake's 2017 track, Galchester. A lot of people know that. It was played in the club a lot from More Life. He said on the song, I know I said I'm top 5, but I'm top 2 and I'm not 2. I got 1. Thought you had 1, but it's not 1. Obviously, why Drake uses his lines to crown himself the best rapper. Here, Tory is speaking about his love interest as his one and only.
Shawty, you know you can always stop by. You top 5 and know you're not 5. And I fuck 3 or 2 but 1, girl. I'm hot now, wanna see the sun do the accent.
So it's a little switch up, but I think that's dope how he paid homage to Drake and flipped the bars a little bit. Tory's killing it, man. And he just continues to do so. So I really fuck with this song, especially on the sex playlist. Get a little nasty with my lady, you feel me? So it's a nice little vibe. We move on to track number 3, which is Bad News. A slower track here. It almost is described as pleading with the lover to choose over her lifestyle, which threatens to pull them apart. On an interview with Kehlani, she stated that she was kind of in a relationship that has put me in a space of almost processing my parents a little bit. She added that her father had passed away from gang-related situation when she was young, and that she started diving into the headspace of music that she was making. That link emerges most explicitly on this song. You can kind of feel it in there a little bit. Even the chorus, you know, she's speaking to him like, yo, I know you about this gang shit. I know what happens when you about this gang life, fam. Like, I had my father went through this shit, passed away. I don't want the same thing for you. So you got to know that I'm there for you at all times, even when you're scared. Like, you can always come to me. And she's just really trying to reassure YG at this point. And she goes on to say, all I want you to know is I'm here. If no one else, I'm here. Right here. I'm never scared, no fear. No way. When you're with me, you're safe. Like always. So let it fade and just go ahead and give all that shit. Make you wanna give all that shit. Make you wanna spend that time on it. Stop playing that motherfucking G card, fam. You ain't gotta be a G at all times, fam. You could shed that skin with me. Feel me? But I think that's what she's saying to him a little bit. It's really heartfelt. It's a nice little melody as well. Makes me a little sad though. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's a pretty good song, especially the hook. I really fuck with that heavy, but nothing outstanding. We're gonna move on to track number 6, which is "Change Your Life." This is with Jhené Aiko. Now, now apparently this song wasn't even planned to feature Jhené on this song. The song's just 2 verses. It's pretty short, and then Jhené and Kehlani got closer toward the album release, and she said that she views her as somebody she could look up to for advice, someone who navigated the public space for a while. She went on to say that she has respect for her. It was an honor for me to have her on there, and she was actually, yo, if you don't have anything on your album, I would love to hop on it. And I was like, and Kehlani said to Jhené, like, yo, I thought you would never ask. So she just put on her track real quick. And she happened to spit a nice verse that was able to fit on a song. So she sent it back pretty quick. And then she got the verse out that day, right before the album came out. I think it's like a day before the album. So, which is crazy because I actually think this is a radio single. I think this is one of the 3 or 4 that usually come out of albums. Obviously, you have a few that already came out, like Toxic and Everybody's Business. But I think this is next up in the summer or so because, you know, everyone's fucking with Jhené heavy. There's some bars in here. Right, she opens up. I heard you a gang, gang, gang.
I heard that you a gang, gang, gangster. Not one try to say, but always focus on your paper. Don't got time to wager your heart. I'm trying to switch up your cadence. Book flights and vacations. Tequila and relations. Kissing on new places. Oh, baby, let me change your life.
Obviously, she's speaking how she could open the doors for a motherfucker. Niggas don't be traveling. Niggas will always be heavy set on getting money in the streets and just being a hard ass. Sometimes you gotta go on vacation, my niggas. All right? I've learned the value of vacation over the last few years, and it's outstanding. I know you gotta hustle. I know you gotta grind, but every so often you gotta get off your feet a little bit. I know that's what my lady has helped me with, and traveling and exploring things and seeing new shit in the world and getting different perspectives, man. It could do a lot for you. So you can't just stay in the same zone at all times. Understand the street life, of course. But, you know, girl, this bad trying to get you out there, trying to show you the world, fam. You got to take that. She goes on to say, Jhené goes on to say, I'm not saying that you're incomplete, but just imagine what we'd be if we became one.
I'm not saying that you're incomplete, but just imagine what we'd be if we became one. You deserve someone that'll take you to another level. Let me put you on.
And then I like the chorus where they go back and forth. Baby, let me change your life.
Baby, let me change your life. See, baby, let me change your life. You wanna be anything. Baby, I can make you right.
And then Kehlani kind of goes off at the end there. She like breaks down the beat a little bit and she says, but now you're seeing that it's more than body, face, smile. You see me, you look beyond it, you feel inspired. She's just talking that shit a little bit. You can hear like the beat kind of settle a little bit and let her kind of sit in that pocket while she rides it. She's almost spitting a little bit, which is impressive. But
that it's more than body, face, and smile. You mean you look beyond it, you feel inspired. I'm here to excel with you, here to break bread with you, here to travel the world, seeking different paths with you, here to make revenue. No, it's impressing you, baby.
I definitely, again, think this is a radio single that people are going to fuck with heavy, with the 2 heavy hitters in that genre. I think it's a hit. So we move on to track number 8, which is Everyone's Business. Obviously, this has been heard before. Now, this is a song where she expressed her love life and the love she has for people that she's encountered. She also addresses the rumors that that people have surrounding her, have had surrounding her relationships. So she talks about the meaning of the song, and she said it was a message that was super passionate about getting across and talking about. And she already came in the studio with the idea. She was sitting on the floor with Trinidad James, which is name drop that hasn't been named in a while. But they were sitting down together, writing everything, racing. She said this took like a really long time to write. If you read about Kehlani, super passionate person, follows her heart at all times. So you know she's looking at these comments and she just wants to address it, get out in front of it, tell her own story, which is admirable as well.
I ain't never been a half-ass lover. Rather lay out on the train tracks, but yeah, hit the pavement, but yeah, make a statement. You ain't never had to ask for that, it's included in the packaging.
I had people talking that shit like me when I thought Party Next Door was talking about her on Silent Anthem, and then she goes ahead and drops this about a week later. I'm not going to say that was a response to that, but I'm going to say that's a response to that. But again, great for getting in front of it. I actually think this is the best Kehlani. Great lead-in from the skit before. The skit wasn't great, but good lead-in. Love the guitar intro. I believe that this is the best Kehlani. Just give me a simple guitar on some honey vibes. You know Honey from Kehlani. But I think that's the best Kehlani, so she should stay here. I think this is a great sound for her. Like I said, she has some bars. I ain't never been a half-ass lover. Ready to lay out on the tracks for you. Like I said, she's extremely passionate. She does everything out of the kindness of her heart. The love is genuine, and she loves hard. I think that's depicted throughout this entire album. She goes on to say, with the hook, at my big old age, I can't be fazed by what you mistake as going insane.
At my big old age, I can't be fazed, but what you mistake is going insane. Like I'm just moving on while fucking on while running my mouth. Like I'm throwing it back, giving it up when I'm in town.
You know, she just feel like everyone thinks she's just talking crazy, like she's fucking just everybody when she hits the town. When she's just like in meaningful relationships with these people. These are people that she's given time to, that she's built with, that she's brought around her family, that she's discussed futures with. People think that she's just throwing around that pussy. So she's just addressing that a little bit. And I think it's a good track and where she should stay. Obviously, that already released as a single. We move on to track number 9, which is Hate the Club, featuring MASEGO. Now, this is a vibe right here. Now, in this song, Kehlani talks about going to the club and seeing someone that she's involved with despite her hate toward the club. Shout out to the hate of clubs. I don't really understand the club. However, she's too fearful to approach the person. Obviously, she's there for somebody. She knows who's going to be there. You know who she's looking for. And she actually shouted out something in LA that I'm going to check out. If anyone can tell me what the fuck is up with the Shaba parties on Sundays, it sounds like Shaba brunches are lit because they got the dance hall joints. If anyone listens to this and can give me some info on that, at least give me some tickets, I'm trying to experience that for sure. But that's off the cuff. You got MASEGO on the sax. He's killing it. You know I love Lavish Lullaby. That's one of my favorites, and he has a solo on that goes heavy. So he's got a solo at the intro and then the outro as well. I'll make sure to feature that outro solo on the end of this review here. She has a pre-chorus that goes into the hook that says, I be in the section dolo, baby, working on self-control.
I be in the section dolo, baby, working on self-control, baby, no, finna get anti-social on you. Damn, you know I hate the club.
Finna get antisocial, then dun, 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 then damn, you know I hate the club. See, it's a real nice drop there. Obviously, that starts the chorus as well. But I came because I knew you'd show up. Maybe if I drank enough, I'll make my way over to you. Damn, you know.
Damn, you know I hate the club. But I came cause I know you show up. Maybe if I drank enough, I'll make my way over to you.
I hate the club. Feel that. Like, why were you even going to a club to meet people? That's probably the worst fucking place you can meet people. I never understood this when I was younger, why people want to go to the club to, like, meet people. I'm going to go to a fucking coffee shop. Not even a coffee shop, but at least something that's more interactive. Maybe somewhere in the daytime. What about daytime parties? Brunch is a great fucking activity to get to know people. Like, in a dark club with the loudest fucking music and the most expensive drinks. Like, I'm not buying a drink for a bitch ever. So this bitch could just take my $12 drink and just leave? That's not going to happen. So I'm just not a fan of the club either. So this is a track that I really, really fuck with. Again, check out MASEGO's outro, sax at the end. it's heavy, but this is one of my favorite tracks off the album, for sure, for sure. So we move on to track number 10, which is Serial Lover. Now, Serial Lover closes out the second third of the album with assessment on commitment issues and emotional insecurity as well. So on her live stream, she talks about the process of creating the song. She said, being a serial lover and allowing yourself to fall multiple times over and over again and not feeling about it, but just kind of making up your own rules. And she goes on to say, I think a lot of us have experience with getting a relationship and trying to figure out what fits you, what's best for you and what works. And that's a trial and error process. And that means you have to troubleshoot and you have to try a couple times. And that's what's meant for me. And so I feel that, you got to try over and over to try to find exactly what you like and what works for you. You got to be willing to put yourself out there as well. So, people get hurt and you got to get up on the saddle. I don't even know why they use that phrase. Actually, that makes sense because when you fall off the horse, you got to get it back up on the saddle. So I guess that works here. But, I mean, some people, man, they get hurt once and they're not willing to try it again, and it really scars them forever. It really takes courage to get hurt once and continue to go through the process and try to find that love. So, I mean, again, admirable by her to be upfront about it and talk openly about it and to understand that she's putting herself in a position to get hurt, but that's the only way in which you could discover true love. So she goes on to say,
love hard, fuck harder. Serial lover, love hard, fuck harder. Serial lover, need to recover.
Obviously, that's the hook. She breaks it down a little bit. Only wake me up if you could take that shit. Understand you're entering at your own risk. I want those nights I won't forget. Nights I can't run back. People.
Only wake me up if you can take that shit. Understand you're entering at your own risk. I want those nights I won't forget. Nights I can't run back. People I won't miss.
So she goes on to I like the hook. Oh, why? Lord knows my intentions are pure and my heart full of gold.
Oh, why? Lord knows my intentions are pure and my heart full of gold. Lord knows my intentions are pure and my habits are cold.
I really like that hook there. I'm not sure where that hook is from. I think it's a 90s hook, if I'm not mistaken. I can't even find that. Somebody could find that, throw that in the comments, let me know. I'd appreciate it. I'll throw you some free merch. So we move on to track number 11, F&MU. Obviously, the song talks about the struggles between Kehlani and YG, and though they go through issues, they look forward to the sex that comes with the making up. The song talks about the struggles between Kehlani and YG, and even though the two go through issues, she looks forward to the sex that comes with making up.
I hate you, turns into I love you in the bedroom. We fucking make up like it's Maybelline. We do petty things to mess up the sheets. Yeah.
Obviously, F&MU is fuck and make up. So the song falls in line with the greater narrative of turbulence and duality in relationships that run throughout the entire theme of the album. So more of the same there. I like the hook. That's about it. It says, I hate you, turns into I love you. We fucking make up like it's Maybelline. We do petty things to make up the sheets. It's probably the only part of the entire song that I really fuck with. At that point, we can move on to track number 12, which is Can You Blame Me? This is featuring Lucky Daye. Lucky Daye is coming up. I got a few tracks with him that I discovered in Discover Weekly about a year or so ago that I still have on a few of my playlists now. So I'm glad that he's getting a little hype. I appreciate that. This is the 12th track on the album. It's described as a reflection of the push-pull of desire at odds with your pride as well. I mean, I could attest to this. Sometimes your pride gets in the way of kind of doing what's right in a relationship, and you really get caught up in that. And then eventually you figure out that it's not about you, fam. Like, you got to swallow that shit sometimes and do it for the betterment of the relationship overall long term. You can't really get caught up in this pride shit, or it's not going to work out. So, I mean, she goes on to say,
oh, you know, I would rather argue than me sleep alone. Rather call you out than no one call my phone. Hold my girl instead of having none to hold.
Oh, I'd rather argue than sleep alone, rather call you out than no one call my phone, rather hold my grudge instead of having no one to hold. I think that's a real big issue. Some people just need to have somebody, no matter if they're going through shit they shouldn't go through, whether it be like domestic abuse or just emotional or verbal abuse or any of that type of thing, where they're not happy in a relationship. And doesn't even have to be abuse, just like not being happy in a relationship, but they feel like they need somebody, so they'll stick around in a relationship longer than they need to in order to satisfy that void in which they're trying to fill. And it's a sad story, especially when you listen to other people's stories and they tell you all about their relationship, and the first thing in your mind is like, why don't you leave? And it's just like you realize they're stuck there mentally, and it's a tough thing, but it happens very often. It's a very common thing. So I like Lucky Day's part. It says, "Say it on think time."
Say it umpteen times. You think I'm gonna leave, but I'm never gonna jump sides. We've been on a rough ride. Still ain't shady with a nigga through the long nights. And it's always two rights. Playing games with our hands tied. Who else can I confide in? Don't wanna walk, trying to win a fight. And you got.
Go ahead and pop that verse. I thought he came in there smooth with it. In and out. One of my favorite verses on the album. And then she goes on. Kehlani goes on to say, sometimes I block your calls. You start hitting my girls, talking about where's my baby, and that's when I soften up. So you ignore him, man. Like, how toxic is this relationship? So you ignore him, and then just because he calls you baby, and then now he's concerned after your argument, then you soften up, and then you go back to the same thing.
Sometimes I block all your calls. You start hitting my girls up, talking about where's my baby, and that's when I soften up.
It's just like, God damn, man, love, am I right? This whole thing. It's crazy what it makes people do, right? But at the end of the day, pretty good album. I did like about 8 or 9 of the songs out of the 15 total. I would say there's a few radio hits on here. Obviously, some have already been on the radio. There's the one from my sex playlist. That's that Can I with Tory. Bad News is okay. If you're in your feels a little bit, Change Your Life's going to be a radio single. Everybody's Business is already out. Hate the Club is a radio single as well. I think that's a summer anthem, boy. So be on the lookout for that. So let's see if I'm right. Other than that, man, I thought it was a pretty good album. I think Kehlani summed it up pretty well, talking about the differences between this project and her previous ones as well. She goes on to say the difference is that I didn't try to make pop music. I think on Sweet Sexy Savage, there was quite a lot of pop songs. That's just what it was at the time. And this time, she just really wanted to be in a zone to make R&B project, and just wanted to be very mature and just wanted to tell a story and be concise and wanted to be in one world. She was kind of telling more of a melancholy type of story. It wasn't time for the up-tempo songs on this album. This is an album that she tried to tell a story, obviously, about her relationship with YG and what happened with that as well. So overall, I wasn't disappointed by the album. I'm more of a fan of Kehlani. I'm looking forward to what she has in the future as well. I think she's in the category right now. She's in the Summer Walker, Janae Aiko type vibe right now. She's on that tier, not top tier, not Beyonce type tier. She's on that level 2, but she's put herself up there, especially with the hype around the media. Well, she's put herself up there, so well respected. I'm looking forward to the next album about whatever dude that she's now crying about. Probably going to be some dude that rhymes with YG, P&D, or Kyrie. So be on the lookout for that. And Kehlani's next dude is going to rhyme with one of those 3. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. Back with another one next week. It's looking like Future, Young Bag Money, or Young Money Bag Yo. I don't know what the fuck his name is. Either one of those two. There's also a Roy Wood Project EP, 6-song EP. So we might check that out as well. Appreciate y'all for peeping. Go ahead and share that, like and subscribe. Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast, whatever platform. Be on the lookout. I appreciate y'all. Go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.